My name is Van Broughton Ramsey. I'm the costume designer for the Trip to Bountiful. My goal is if someone came into the theater and they really knew about clothes, when they look at this, that they could date this as 1952, 53, not 1950, 51, or 1955, 56, but in that era that it takes place. I've always enjoyed costumes. When I was a child, my mother had studied to be a prima ballerina and studied with Marge Champion's father out in Los Angeles, and we would go out there in the summers and she would study with him and I would be sent off to, go play in the costume house or somewhere, and it was just a lot of fun, and it still is fun. The inspiration for designing the costumes were mainly based on knowing the time period from, being a child, and then seeing photographs of people from that time period, and then doing research from that time period. If you go back and look at photographs from Harrison, from Houston, during this time period, they're really well dressed, and it's not like, the stereotype thing that people put out. They're pulled together, neat, everything. I mean, and that's what I'm trying to do, is not slip into that, what people think it is, but rather what it was. Normally, I start out with research, and then I do little sketches and notes to myself and make things all over this, and then we go on to a finished sketch with, swatches and colors and all of this stuff, but this went so quickly. They called and said, we're going to do it, and then they had a time frame for everybody's schedule, and they said, we're going to start this in 2 weeks. So we just went with the notebook sketches and the swatches of fabric and never really got to that final sketch. The hard thing about designing a show now is, like, you see something and you know what it is, you know what the fabric is for the 50s, but you can't find it. People aren't reproducing 50s fabrics anymore, and they're certainly not doing it in the patterns and the things that we need to tell the story. We're creating fabrics now as we go.
My name is Lynn Mackey, and I am the milliner on the Trip to Bountiful. As a milliner, we make the hats for the show, or in the case of Trip to Bountiful, we make some of the hats and other hats that Van has found in various places, sometimes his own collection. We refurbish them and give them a nice fluff up and steam, or make them fit the actor's head. There's one hat that is worn by Cecily that she really loved the shape of, that came from Van's mother's collection of hats. That's a felt hat. The hat needed to be adjusted to fit to her head size with her hair in a wig. So we need to make it bigger so that it fits her the way the hat from that period would fit. We are such a tiny part of the whole theatrical process, but it's really exciting to be a part of that, and at the same time to come back to my studio and make these little tiny pieces of sculpture by sewing them together by hand. It's kind of an odd, dying art.
Horton Foote's writing is timeless. It was timeless when Lillian Gish did it in 1953, and to me, even more so that Cecily Tyson is doing it. It's so nice to see that the work translates through race, through time. No one can see this production without being touched and moved by Carrie Watts' plight in life, and how little she wants and how little she gets.